Hello everyone, this is Salar and you are watching Smartcode and CSS Explained playlist. In this tutorial, I will be teaching you CSS box sizing property using visuals, practicals and some mathematics. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do that because it means so much to me. Now, you have pretty much seen some selectors like this and this used everywhere. If you look closer to these selectors, all of them actually trying to do one thing. They are setting the box sizing property to border box. So why do setting box sizing to border box is necessary and how does it save you from a lot of troubles other points? So let's try to find out the answers of these questions. So the box sizing is a CSS property and can take two values, content box and border box. Now at this moment I want you to forget the values and try to understand only the property box sizing by itself. So the property box sizing determines the size of the rendered box. And here I am using the term rendered box. So what do I mean by rendered box? Let me elaborate it. A rendered box is the final version of the box that you see in the browser after the rendering process. For instance, the boxes that you see on your screen. All of these boxes are rendered boxes because they have gone through the rendering process and now you see them in the browser. I hope you got the point. Let's go ahead. So every rendered box has a size and the size consists of width and height. So in the rendering process, browser also do some mathematics and calculate the width and the height of each box. And once the width and the height is calculated, the size of the rendered box is determined. So the bottom line of this whole discussion is the box sizing property tells the browser to determine the size of the box by calculating its width and height. So now you know the purpose of box sizing property. Let's now discuss the values that we can assign to box sizing. Box sizing accepts two values, content box and border box. And when you assign content box, you actually tell the browser to calculate the size of the rendered box using the formula provided by content box. And in the same way, assigning border box means your browser will calculate the size of the rendered box using the formula provided by border box. And there is difference in their formulas. So the content box uses the formula that you see on your screen right now. Rendered width is equal to actual contents width plus left and right padding plus left and right border. And for calculating the height, it uses rendered height is equal to actual contents height plus top plus bottom padding plus top plus bottom border. So the padding and border is added to the final rendered box size. That means if you make increment or decrement in padding, the size of the rendered box will also be increased or decreased. And fortunately or unfortunately, the content box is set to default. That means if you don't override the box sizing property, then you are for sure working with content box. On the other hand, the border box formula is very simple and it looks like rendered width is equal to actual contents width and rendered height is equal to actual contents height. So the padding and border do not affect the size of the box. And the actual size that you specify using width and height becomes the rendered size of the box. So that was too much theoretical explanation. Let's now jump into the code and do some experiments. So the system I am using is very simple. I have three divs with exactly the same content and all of them have their own classes, box 1, 2 and 3. And in the CSS, I am targeting the divs using their classes and assigning them exactly the same size 200 into 200 pixels. And the other selectors in CSS file are just for improving the visuals in the browser. Now in the browser, I got what I expected. Three equal sized divs layout, right? So like I said earlier, box sizing is set to content box by default. So just keep this in mind. Now I want to style my boxes and give them some padding. Let's say 0 padding to the first box, 5 pixel to the second box, and 10 pixels padding to the third box. Now save the file and check the result in the browser. And there you see a weird result, right? Your beautiful layout is now destroyed. And you may now know the reason why. We are using box sizing content box. And according to the content box formula, padding is added to the final rendered size. So you can run into some weird size and layout related problems like this if you continue to work with box sizing content box. So what do you need to do in order to eliminate such pitfalls? You actually don't need to do much. Just override the box sizing property to border box, and then it will be much easier for you to deal with the sizes of elements. Now in the CSS file where I'm targeting all the boxes at once, we'll write box sizing border box. That's it. Now save and refresh the page again. And there you see, we got our layout back, right? And amazingly, we also have our desired padding. So here in border box, padding and border accommodate inside the box. And that's why the actual size remains the same. So border box is truly a lifesaver and save you from a lot of layouts related problems. Now finally, take a look how do we apply box sizing in a proper way at document level. So the box sizing is mostly applied using the universal selector to select all the elements and apply box sizing to them. So the first syntax that you see on your screen is the earliest and the oldest one, and it still works fairly well and uses quite a lot. The only problem with this syntax is it does not target the pseudo elements. And if you have pseudo elements in your document, then they will not have box sizing border box applied to them. For selecting and applying box sizing to pseudo elements, you can use another syntax that you see on the screen. And this syntax is gonna select and apply box sizing to all the pseudo elements. So that was a detailed discussion on CSS box sizing property, and I hope you learned something from this video. If you are a beginner and still have difficulty understanding box sizing, then do some digging, experiment, and read articles on box sizing. But remember at least this simple syntax. And whenever you are coding a website, use this syntax in the beginning of your CSS file. More understanding will come over time, so don't worry and keep coding. Thanks for watching this video.